and in this video I'm going to be showing you guys the best settings for your M4T, specifically when it comes to things like pet search and rescue or thermal de-recovery. We see a lot of questions being asked by other pilots as far as what settings to choose, which ones to not use, and people want to know, what are my best settings that I can use on my Matrice 4T in order to make sure that these objects that I'm looking for, whether it be a deer, whether it be a pet, how can I make sure that these objects stand out the best? And then guys, we're also going to go over just some very general settings that are not exactly related to your thermal camera that you might want to set up on your drone. Now, maybe you guys are working with a different drone, such as the Matrice 30T series or the Mavic 3T series, and you're going to notice there are a lot of similarities in both the general settings and the camera settings. Now, if you're watching from our thermal drone pet search and rescue online training program, we'll have different modules for all three of those drones. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and dive into some general settings here. I'm only going to be showing you guys the important things, the things that are very relevant to you, and some things that you are going to use from time to time, and then also things that you can just set up now that will help you in the future. It could potentially prevent you from having issues and just kind of make your experience a little bit easier. So you're going to be looking at the top right corner of the screen. You're going to be looking at these three dots right here. Go ahead and select that. This is going to be a lot of your home point settings here. So one of the things that I want to highlight here, if we scroll down, your return to home feature is going to be on preset. One of the key things I want to point out here is your minimum return to home altitude. So why this is important, if for some reason your remote were to happen to lose signal, or you have a connection issue, or you just happen to use the return to home feature, what this is going to do is set how high your drone goes before it returns to home. And if you see here, they give you a little picture down there on the left, make it real simple for you. So if for any reason your drone has to return to home, it's going to first go to this set height, the height that you set it at here, then it'll start making its way towards the home point. So I have that set for 300. Typically 300 will clear any object. If I remember right, I think I actually have that set higher, and I just haven't touched this yet. So let's go 350. I'm going to put it at 350 just because I want to avoid everything like radio towers or things that are just a little bit higher. Next is your max altitude. I have that set for 400. You can set it higher if you want. Obviously make sure you're abiding by all FAA regulations. But I have that set for 400 just as a safety for me. I turn my distance limit off. Next is your sensor status. This is something that you might have to use from time to time. When you select sensor status, that's going to be for your IMU and compass calibration. So in the event that your drone notifies you, now pay attention, your drone will notify you when things like this are needed. You can also check the status of your IMU and compass here. But if you have an IMU calibration error or compass error, your drone should notify you that you have this error. So I'm not going to walk you through a IMU calibration or a compass calibration, because when you select these options here, whether it be for your IMU or compass, it will walk you through it. The drone has a very user-friendly way to walk you through it. It gives you like picture diagrams and all that. It's very, very easy. If you ever need to do your IMU or compass, you'll find that there. Next, for your signal lost action, you should probably put this at return to home. You definitely don't want it on either of these other two. Let's just put it that way. Moving on. We're going to go to some of our obstacle avoidance stuff. Click the next tab down on the right. Okay, I talked about this in the modules for the 30T and 3T. But when it comes to my obstacle avoidance, I turn it off. Now, this is a big personal preference, and you have to just ask yourself this question if this is something that you want to do. But I like to have, complete control of my drone at all times. Sometimes, you find yourself taking off in a little bit more narrow of spaces when it comes to, being around trees. And I've actually seen obstacle avoidance cause crashes. Now, yes, obstacle avoidance can prevent a crash. I just like to know that I'm in complete control. Just what I've seen from obstacle avoidance a few times is the obstacle avoidance will actually, stop the drone, or if you have it set to, where it will avoid an obstacle, I've actually seen it pick up on an obstacle, move the drone into another obstacle that it did not pick up, and actually cause the crash. So I turn it off. That's up to you, to decide what you want to do with it. Precision landing, go ahead and leave that on. Downward infrared sensor ranging. You definitely want to leave that on. What that does is when you're coming in for your landing and you're getting close to the ground, it's going to pick up on that ground there, and it's going to help slow your drone down so that you don't smack your drone off the floor. The next tab is going to be your remote control settings. The controller stick mode, I leave mine at mode 2, that is default, but if you select these other modes, it's going to notify you that you switch modes, of course, and tell you what the controls are for that stick mode. But we're going to go back to 2. Remote controller calibration, that is something you won't need to do unless the drone prompts you to. Next, custom RC buttons. This is definitely something that you're going to want to use, and it's something that you'll also see in the Spotlight module of the training program. So once you select that, you're going to see a bunch of different programmable buttons here, and basically you want to just select which button you want to be programmable and select it. My big thing here is my C1. I use my C1 to power on and off my Spotlight. The way you turn your Spotlight on and off, as it comes from factory, is kind of a pain in the butt compared to this, and this is something that's just going to save you a lot of time and a lot of headache. So all I did was just select the C1. It gives you a little photo diagram here, makes it nice and easy for you, and you're going over to your payload and scroll down to Spotlight on and off, and then just select it, and then it should show up here. So you're able to program all these buttons, your D-pad down here, and then you can do button combos. That's a little too fancy for me, but next, your image transmission settings. The frequency, you're going to leave that as it is. The thing that you want to know here is your video output type down here. So the reason why the video output type is important is if you are hooking the remote up via HDMI to an external monitor or a TV, you'll have issues with that unless this is selected to duplicate screen. If it's on camera view, I believe it just only shows, obviously with some of these pre-selected settings that you have, but it'll only show what camera you're on, whether it be your zoom camera or your thermal camera. What this does is it just mirrors the screen on duplicate screen, which is what I like to show my clients and what the majority of everybody else likes to show their clients. So if you want your clients to see what's on your remote and you want them to see what you're seeing, make sure you have the video output type on duplicate screen. Next tab down is your battery. This is just going to give you a lot of diagnostics on your battery. One of the things that you probably want to change here is the customized battery warning. Most importantly is going to be your critically low positioning. What happens when your battery hits the critically low position is it will force land your drone. So you'll be able to move the drone forward, backward, left, and right, but basically it's going to bring this drone down and force you to land. So I like to put that as low as possible, only because I don't want the drone to force land it sooner. And then next is just your low alert. So that's just going to be when you start getting battery notifications that, like, hey, your battery is low, and it'll start prompting you to return to home and all that. So I had that set at 29%, and then my critically low at 10%, just to give myself enough grace as I possibly can when it comes to my drone being force landed. So next, go down to this camera tab. The most important thing here, guys, is your gimbal calibration. If you're ever having issues with your gimbal, one of the first things that you should do after you power the drone on and off to see if that fixes a gimbal issue is go to a gimbal calibration. Next tab down is for RTK positioning. If you're doing animal rescue, you don't need RTK. Here to some common settings, you're going to find your map switch. Right now it's on auto. I like to use Maptilier. That's going to be a detailed satellite map that you see here. The show flight trajectory, that's going to be when you take off and you're flying a route. It's going to show you where you've flown. So you want to leave that on. Show GNSS, that's going to be your satellites up top. You want to leave that on. Next is unit settings. So unit settings, just change them to all the things that you're familiar with. I'm familiar with miles per hour. Area units, I'm more familiar with acres. And then temperature units, we are on Fahrenheit. Your LED settings, if you're using the 4T here, you'll also find these settings here in a different section that I will show you later. But your discrete mode is basically going to turn all the lights on your drone off. I've actually used this feature a lot of times. My drone, I'll say, has been shot at a few different times, and in the event of that, I will turn on discrete mode to protect my equipment, and then obviously I'm gonna land. The 4T has a navigation beacon at the top back portion of the drone. Anytime I fly at night, I have this beacon turned on. But like I said, there's a quick tab where you can access these light settings here that I'll show you later. The bottom auxiliary light, I leave that on auto. That's the light that turns on when your drone takes off and it's at a lower altitude. We're not going to go into other settings. Next, we're going to go into about. Here you can just find a lot of information about your drone, whether it be serial numbers, payload serial numbers, things like that. So that's going to be the gist of your basic settings for the Matrice 4T. Next, I want to highlight this bar over here on your left side. So if you're coming from the 30T or the 3T, you'll notice that this is somewhat new. There's a few newer features on here that I will show you. So if you click the three dots on the bottom left hand side right here, it's going to bring up a menu for this. Now, a lot of these settings are not relevant to animal rescue or any other kind of search and rescue deal. So we're not going to be going over the fly to features, the terrain follow features, none of that stuff. One of the things that you are going to want to pay attention to is your AR Street. So what it does, it's an augmented reality feature, and it's going to show you your streets. So let me select that, turn it on, and we'll take off and I'll show you.
Taking off.
Okay. So you see here we have the AR Street feature on, and it's going to be giving me the name of this road here. We're on Kinsman Road Northeast. And if you see here, I'm flying over towards Stoddard Hayes, and it's going to display and even show me that road. I have this turned off. The reason for that is I don't want these streets or these roads getting in my way of my visual. Now, that's just me. That's just my personal preference. Maybe this is something that you're going to want to toggle on and off, as you go. One suggestion I could give to you is keep it turned off, and then in the event that you do locate someone's animal or you're tracking a deer or whatever, you can just quick toggle on your AR Street and use that to kind of help guide your clients in on the fly if it's necessary. The next big setting that I want to show you guys is going to be your observed view. So what the observed view does is it's going to highlight on your satellite map your view that you've observed with your camera gimbal. So it's just going to kind of highlight the angles that your camera looked at, and that I don't want to say covered, but we'll get into that. So when you turn on your observed view, you're going to see in the bottom left corner an emblem show up that says start recording. So once you select start recording and we start to fly, there's going to be a few things that you'll see here. So one is this cone right here. Now, observe view as it is right now, and I'm hoping that they fix this, but it can be a little bit buggy. I've noticed that when I use observe view, my map will sometimes freeze. But moving forward, you're going to see this white cone here. That's going to show your field of view for your camera gimbal. And then when we start to fly, let's go in thermal here. We start to fly, and we'll just do a quick pass here and maybe make a left, start heading north. There's some deer down there. And what it's going to do, you'll see here, is it's going to highlight. See how my map just kind of jerked like that? It wasn't very smooth. It's going to highlight some of the areas that you've searched. Now, let me tell you what this is good for and what it's not. Okay, what it's not good for is showing you everything that you've searched. Okay, and let me explain why I'm saying that. So you see here, it's got this house highlighted. Okay, so if you look at your map, one might say, oh, well, this is highlighted yellow, so I've searched it. But in reality, can you see what's behind that house? Can you see what's behind this shed? Can you even see, at the edge of this tree line? Maybe. But the point that I'm making here, guys, is that this does not directly show you what you've searched. Okay? So the way I use observe view, and I use it every chance I can. The way I use it is to make sure that my route spacing is even. So basically, when I am making a pass, let's go back down here, fly over my neighbor Chad's place. Wind's gonna blow my dang drone out of the sky. So let's say I make it down, and now it's time to turn around. So I make my turn, and then I'm using that observed view to make sure that when I'm going back the other direction, if I can make it, I'm going at a snail's pace here. Okay, now that the wind's calmed down just a hair, I'm basically just going to use the observed view to make sure that my pass going back is sufficient, and that I am just bordering my last pass. So that's how I use observe view. I think I'm going to put this 4T down. for a minute, let this wind calm down. Okay, so now I'm getting a power insufficient alert. That's scary. Okay, next we're going to be going over some camera settings. We're going to do this inside. The wind is just ridiculously too high. I have high winds a lot of the times right by my place here, but we got Greta here. Hopefully she sits there long enough. But let's go straight to the camera, and you're going to be looking at this menu at the top here. Your first option is going to be to select your color palettes. A lot of this is going to be personal preference. You got white hot, black hot, tint, and I'm not going to go through all of them, guys, but another popular one's hot iron. I primarily use black hot, and then in the summertime I'll use the hot iron. Hey Greta, can you stop? Can you stop, Greta? So anyway, when it comes to your thermal camera, a few different settings that you are going to want to change. One is going to be your mode. So you're going to select here, and just take note of how Greta looks right now in high res, but you want it to be on high gain. So go ahead and select here, put it on high gain, and now as you can see, she's a lot less spotty. She's more like a solid black. So I'll put it back onto high res. You'll just kind of see, she's a little spotty. She's not as dark. So go ahead and put it on to high gain. Next important thing here, when it comes to your thermal camera, you want to go ahead and select this tab here on your right, and you're going to want to scroll down to your ultra high res infrared image. Make sure that's turned on. Make sure your auto FCC is on. One of the important things here is going to be your scene selection. So go ahead here and you'll see the scene tab. Go ahead and select that, and you'll have the option for default or inspection. Now 90% of the time you're going to have this on inspection. Don't pay much attention to how this looks right now inside. It's going to read data back from the camera a lot different when you're 400 feet in the air and you're looking through the woods and stuff like that. So you're going to want it on inspection mode here, and then you're going to see these two tabs. A lot of people know about inspection mode, but they don't really know what to do with these two tabs. Turn both of these up to 100%. What I've noticed in inspection mode is that it's much too white, depending on what color palette you're using. But in black hot here, we're looking for something black. Everything else is going to be white. It was just much too white, much too flat looking, and the problem with that was I couldn't make out a lot of detail of the area I was in. So like terrain features and even like some buildings or other objects, I just couldn't really make any of it out. So it just kind of looked like I was flying through like a white ocean sometimes, and I didn't really like that. So select inspection mode and then turn these up, and what that'll do is it'll just help eliminate some of that gray. So you see, even when I turn it down here, Greta just kind of blends in a little bit more. Turn it up, and I can see her a little better now. So you want to select those all the way up to 100%. Everything else you're going to see here is related to video capture or photography capture, and but when it comes to your thermal camera, guys, that is going to be your best option for settings when you're doing deer recovery or lost pet search and rescue.
We have all of these drones in stock that you see behind me now, as well as the spotlights and plenty of other accessories. We have rapid chargers, we have monitor stations, anything you guys can think of, guys. We got landing pads. If you guys need assistance with sales, one of our representatives from Drone Animal Rescue would be happy to help you guys out. I know a lot of you guys are new into this. Some of you that are wanting to get into animal rescue have no experience whatsoever with drones, and that is perfectly okay, guys. One of our sales reps can help figure out what's best for you, what's best for your budget, things like that. If you're not very confident in flying these units, we do offer online and in-person training options that are very tailored for people that do not know how to operate these machines, people that do not know that much about drones. So check out those online training options, and then check out our online store to view this inventory